Ahoy, welcome back to another video. Today I wanted to give my thoughts after my first weekend with the new Nintendo Switch 2. I picked this up at the midnight release at my local Best Buy, I guess Wednesday night going into Thursday. Put a good amount of time into the games, several games over the weekend, and just thought I would kind of talk about my initial impressions of the system, hardware itself, and the games I played. For some reference, I purchased Mario Kart, Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour, Fast Fusion, and Deltarune. I've played a good fair bit of all those games except for Deltarune. I haven't quite started yet. I also put some good time into Wind Waker on the GameCube app, and I did a little bit of testing of some Nintendo Switch 1 games for the backwards compatibility. So initial impressions, start off with the actual hardware itself. For some context, I love my Nintendo Switch, my OLED. Probably one of my favorite video game consoles I've ever had, if not my favorite. Pretty much any car ride I'm on, anywhere I'm going long distance, I bring that thing with me. It is my main source of gaming over the last, I guess I got my Switch in 2017, so the last 8 years. This thing very much feels like the more premium, idealized version of the Switch. Just initial holding it and looking at it, it is just a larger Switch, better screen, better feel. I feel like it's a little heavier, a little better to hold. It's a lot more solid. The magnets here on the Joy-Cons, look how you can hold the. It's like doing a Blizzard, holding the Dairy Queen Blizzard. I feel like the Joy-Cons are real secure, and I like how they come off and how snappy they are putting them back on. See if I can get the sound here. See if it'll catch this. But I love it. I love holding this thing. I love playing it portably. It feels real nice. The mouse mode is probably the new hardware feature separating this thing from the Switch 1. I played a lot with the mouse mode in Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour. It literally is, you glide the Joy-Con on the table like this. You put these little, you can put these little track pads on them, make it feel better, and glides right across the table. For some reference, my desk that I play on is a computer, like mouse pad desk. So I'm kind of in like the idealized situation to play with the Nintendo Switch 2 in mouse mode. And from what I played with it, I really enjoyed mouse mode. I really hope they take advantage of this in some first-party games. Obviously, playing with a mouse, nothing new. PC gaming, been doing it for a while. But the idea of the dual mouse mode intrigued me, playing with both mice, and the combination of the mouse mode with the HD Rumble 2 and this Joy-Con, even just like in the little demos through Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour, really helped highlight like what this system could be if people emphasize this mouse mode. I'm really hopeful with that. Let's see. I tested out Game Chat. Nintendo notoriously doesn't have a good Game Chat solution. Prior to the Switch 2, they wanted you to use the phone app on Nintendo Switch, and it was just, who would use the phone app when you can just open Discord? And the Switch voice chat option is basically just a lesser version of Discord, but it is nice that it's there. And I translated my profile over. All my friends are already there. And once you sign up for the voice chat, it's very easy to invite your friends to a voice chat, start a video chat. I got the camera also. And I've done voice chat 2 times now, and I do think it's better than I expected it to be. I just assumed it was going to be bad, just because Nintendo always has, monkey's paw. They add something that you want, and then it just ends up being bad. They do it in a weird way. I think the voice chat has been good. I tested voice chat through an actual headset. I also tested voice chat just playing the console portably. I have one Joy-Con. And then the speaker on the, there's a speaker here on the system taking in the voice. It does a good job of canceling background noise. I tested it with fan on. I tested it stomping my feet on the ground. If you can probably hear me doing this. I tested doing that while talking to somebody in the voice chat, and it canceled that out. Did a good job of that. So I was actually pretty impressed by the voice chat, video chat. I don't have any friends who had the camera, but I turned mine on and people said it looked good. So whatever. I think it's going to be fine. So overall, the hardware itself, I'm really impressed with. Let's talk a little about the games, which is what I feel like is the most important thing with video game consoles. Are the games fun? Are the games good? And right now, there's really only 2 exclusives that, there's tons of third-party games that have got ported over, older games that have existed on other platforms that have got a new version on the Switch or have an updated version on the Switch, but there's 2 games that you need the Nintendo Switch 2 to play, and that is Mario Kart Tour and Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour. Starting off with Mario Kart Tour, positives, it's fun. It's Mario Kart. If you like Mario Kart, plays like Mario Kart. I feel like this game is going to have an incredibly high skill ceiling. I like to think I'm pretty good at Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I feel like I had all the tracks mastered. I could, if I didn't get hit by a blue shell, I probably wasn't going to lose a race on a, definitely on a single player against computers. If I'm playing against friends, obviously other people can also race well. I'm just saying, like, I feel confident in my ability to always win when I'm not getting hit by shells. In Mario Kart World, it's a different story. I feel like the skill ceiling here is really going to separate people who play the game casually and learn the maps and people who really, really spend time learning all the shortcuts, learning all the ways to skip around and all that. There's lots of places to grind where you can save just a little bit of time doing tricks, jumping off of like rails, skipping over stuff, using the feather to jump over things, jump onto rails. I've been watching some speedrun clips of people like doing time trials, and that's going to be insane seeing the time trial like world record runs. So I'm really excited for that, and I hope I can put some time into it to get. Obviously, I'm not going to like be a speedrunner at the game, but I want to learn some of the shortcuts and be able to hold my own against people who play this game. Yeah, the game plays great. It looks and runs really great. There's extra animations and extra attention to how the characters they just feel more alive. They're moving around more. They're not so rigid. I really, really like the presentation of the game. It's very hectic. The races are 24 player now, not 12 player. So if you're in first place, just like in other Mario Karts, if you're getting away in first place, you can kind of get away from the pack. All smooth sailing. If you're in the gauntlet there, in like 5th to like 20th place, you're going to war. It is crazy. The amount of items, the tracks themselves are pretty hectic. With there's like random enemies and obstacles getting in your way, and when you mix it in with everyone having 1 or 2 items at a time, it can get real crazy real fast, and it kind of snowballs to where. You're in first, you get hit by a shell, you're in third, you get hit by another shell, now you're in 5th, and all of a sudden you're in jeopardy of jumping back to the teens. It can get real crazy real fast. So Grand Prix is fun. I was a little not sold early on. The first kind of did a Grand Prix, the first track is a 3-lap race like normal, and then the way they do the maps in this game, you start the second and third and fourth race already moving. You don't start the race from a stop. You're already moving, and you're driving to the next track. So there's like an intermission. The first couple laps of each race are like an intermission. We're on these wide roads. And initially, I was thinking, this is boring. I'm just driving straight. I don't know what... This is a bad decision. I don't know if this is going to be fun. The more I play it, and the more I see... people at a high level playing it, the more I see the opportunity for these intermissions to be a real highlight. The little shortcuts and the grinding on the rails and just the little things you can do to get the little edge in those times, getting to the actual track, I think is going to eventually, like I said, raise that skill ceiling and separate certain players from others. I do think... I haven't played all the maps yet. I've played, I don't know, let's say half. I played most of the Grand Prix, but then there's another mode called Knockout Tour, which I'll get to in a second. I haven't played many of those yet, so I've probably played half the maps overall. There's some really fun ones, lots of bright colors. I feel like they use water a lot. A lot of the levels have flowing water, which just looks really nice. It just looks real pretty, and they have a good little physics system for the water in this game. So I think that adds to it. They're kind of flexing their muscles a little bit with the new system. And, all this is stuff that, it's been done before, but having it on Mario Kart on a handheld just looks really pretty and feels really nice. Talking about Knockout Tour, it's a new mode in the game, and it's basically, I think if you're Grand Prix in Mario Kart, instead of doing 4 races, you're doing like 4 or 5 races in a row without stopping, and at the end of what would be a race, it knocks off, so you start with 24 or whatever, it goes down to 16, goes down to 12, 8, 4, and then you finish the race, and it's eliminating players at each gate. That was a blast. I was playing on stream with some friends a couple nights ago, and having 5 or 6 people in there, all screaming, all vying for to make it to the last cut, was super fun. I really enjoyed that. Multiplayer is going to be tons of fun in this game. We had a couple dropouts on our first play in a group, but the person that was dropping out claimed it was their internet. I don't know. We've only played one time, so I'll have to test if they fix that, if it continues happening, or if it's a problem with the actual game itself. They claim it was their internet. Who knows? It was just them that dropped out twice. But other than that, it felt really solid and smooth and easy to get into matches. So I would say overall, the driving around in Mario Kart Tour, 2 thumbs up. Oh, I got a little thumbs up there. One thing I'm not sold on is the free roam mode. I think the concept is great. I think it is fun in theory. The problem is there is very little tracking of what you've done in free roam mode. So there's 3 collectibles. There's Peach medallions, there's P-switches, and there are these the question blocks. So the question blocks, you can see how many you have in each area. I think it's like sometimes it'll be 5, and it'll show you a highlight of which one, like you found 1 of 5, 2 of 5, 3 of 5. Great. The P-switches, though, and the Peach medallions, to what I can tell, and what I've tried Googling, it looks like others have found, there is no real tracking of how many you have in a certain area of the map, and I don't even think there's like a checklist of how many there are in total. I'm sure people have collectively found how many there are in total, but if you're just playing the game, it just counts up how many you have. So it's like, okay, you found 25 P-switches, and these P-switches are like little mini challenges. You run over a P-switch and you'll be like, okay, get to that spot over there, dodging these obstacles in 10 seconds. And you do all this stuff, and you get a little badge for doing it. Great job. You can customize your cart. The concept is great. I like having stuff to do in the open world to flesh it out and make it a little more fun to explore. The completionist in me and just me liking checking out boxes, I want to know if I'm missing a bunch. It kind of feels like what Nintendo did with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom with the Korok seeds, where it doesn't tell you how many are in an area, and you just have to kind of guess if you have all of them in an area, or you're not meant to find all of them. You're meant to drive around and be finding them along the way, and it's supposed to supplement your time, not be an objective of yours. But the problem is in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, you had shrines, you had dungeons, and the Koroks supplemented that. In Mario Kart World, I feel like the P-switches and the Peach medallions, that is kind of like the only objective to go for other than just driving around and having fun. So it kind of feels like you're playing Breath of the Wild and looking for Koroks, but there's no shrines or dungeons. You're just finding Koroks for the sake of it, which would be fun in a vacuum, but I need a little bit more to push me to do that. Like driving around free roam mode, just throwing on a podcast or listening to the great sound. The game has a great soundtrack. So listening to the soundtrack and driving around for a while, it is fun. I just don't know if that's long-term enough for me, or if I would like to have, a little more curated list of like, okay, you have 10 of 15 P-switches in this area. You have all 3 Peach medallions in this area. Go explore another area and find stuff over there. I hope they add that in a post-launch update. We'll see. But overall, though, I'm pretty high on Mario Kart Tour. I have not rolled credits yet. I have not finished the Grand Prix modes yet. But I'm going to keep playing and keep having fun. and I got it digitally. I normally like to get my games physically, if you can tell by these Switch games up here. But I got it digitally just so I can always have it available whenever I want to play it. The next exclusive, Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour. So I made a review of this video. I put it out a couple days ago. Overall, I enjoyed what I played. It is a fun demo of the system, a fun tech demo of what the Joy-Cons can do. It's a great display of mouse mode. There's some fun mini games in it. After finishing it, I think the game is quote unquote worth $10. If you were to play it in a vacuum and someone made this game and put it on the shop without context, I think it is worth playing for $10. The problem is this is the platform holder putting out what is essentially it is literally called Welcome Tour. It is a tour of the system, a tour of the capabilities of the console, and they're putting it behind a price gate for an already very expensive console. It's, $450 console, and then they want you to pay $10 extra for the Welcome Tour. I think we're talking the margins there, $10, so $460 instead of $450. Just pack it in. Just pack it in. I think this game was a great introduction to the system. I learned stuff. It tells you about like some of the design process, the reasons they did things, the improvements they made from the Switch 1, and what thought went into those things. It gives you like a good like 3D, like a look into like 3D models of like the innards of the system. You like see CAD models of things. It's really cool, and I enjoyed learning about it. And it was like I did everything. I like quote unquote 100% of it. I did all the challenges, got all the medals. It took me like 12 hours. It was a decent chunk of time, and I enjoyed doing it. But I still think that kind of game being made by the platform holder should have just been packed in so everyone could enjoy it, everyone could learn their system. I feel like it would have gone a long way to make people appreciate the expensive piece of hardware they just purchased. Rather than now, it is a notorious like money grab and show of greed of not just allowing your people who are jumping into this new system at launch, spending all this money, your most dedicated fans and people who really want to buy into this, nickel and dime them for $10. I mean, come on. I not a fan of the price model. I do think it is a quality piece of software. So I'll stop there. But check out the full video for my full thoughts. Another game I played. This actually might be an exclusive. I might have misspoke. Fast Fusion. It's from. I'm going to say it wrong. I've read it. But I don't know if is it Shinen? Shinen. This is basically if you've played F-Zero or if you've played a Wipeout. I played Wipeout HD on I think it was the PS3, PS4. I can't remember. Really enjoyed that game. Played F-Zero X on NSO. Really enjoyed that game. This feels like that kind of game. It's a futuristic, fast-paced, narrow, go straight, fast racer. Shinen has had a history of supporting Nintendo consoles at their launch with these games. Fast RMX. I think there's a fast game on the Wii U. I think there was one. It was on the Wii as like a download only game. I think, or a WiiWare game. So they've had a history of supporting these consoles with these games, and this is the first one I've played, and I really, really like it. So it performs and looks great, super smooth. It looks really pretty, and even if there's like, I get the feeling it's one of those games where maybe there's less detail on the sides, but you're moving so fast that it naturally blurs it. So you're really only looking at like your vehicle and the surrounding vehicles and the immediate track in front of you. And it all looks very good. It feels real good. The way it works is there's a red boost or an orange boost. Yeah, orange boost and a blue boost. And you're switching your color of your vehicle to hit these boost pads. So you press the X button when you're coming on a blue boost, hit the blue boost, and you'll go fast. If you don't have, if you're in orange mode, you don't get that boost. So you're balancing switching between these two modes, as well as getting these coins, the medallions that are along the way to give you your at-will boost. So you have like a meter that charges up when you get these coins, and you can use it whenever suits your, whenever you want to use a boost. So basically the game's trying to get you to constantly be moving fast, constantly be using some form of boost to keep up with the the other vehicles. I'm having a blast with it. I've done all of the essentially what are Grand Prix. I don't remember what they call them, the circuits. I've done all of those on the first speed and difficulty, and I'm like halfway through the second speed and difficulty. Time trials are pretty tough for me because I'm not very good at the game, so I've only done a couple of those successfully. You have to beat the dev times or whatever. And there's a mode called Superhero Mode, which basically just if you crash or explode, you lose the race, you're done. You have one life basically. And there's a jump mechanic in the game, and they tie the jumping to your boost meter, which is not the case as in the normal Grand Prix, but in this mode it ties if you want to jump to get to whether it be some more medallions or a shortcut, it'll take away from your boost there. So it's like a tougher version of the game, and you play one race at a time, just try to finish that race in first place. Really liking it. It's called Fast Fusion because you unlock the ability to fuse two vehicles together. So you have a vehicle that's really good at acceleration. You have one that's really good at speed. You put them together, you get a whole new unique vehicle, and it like adds their stats together basically. So that's been a fun process. I've only done that a few times. I've got a vehicle I like now. I'm gonna try to beat some of these higher difficulty races now that I have a better vehicle. But I plan on finishing this one. I would like to get a review out on it in a couple days. Just need to finish it up and really feel like I earned that review. Next up, GameCube Games. I'm a big GameCube guy. GameCube was the first console that was purchased for me. I had an N64 when I was young, but it was my older sister's. The GameCube I got for Christmas when I was 5, 6, I don't remember. GameCube was what I grew up with, I guess what I'm getting at. So I have a lot of nostalgia, a lot of strong memories with the GameCube. The 3 games available now are Wind Waker, Soul Calibur 2, and F-Zero GX. F-Zero GX I have limited experience with. Played it a couple times, but I haven't really touched that one much yet. Soul Calibur 2 I played at a neighbor's house growing up. I basically have no muscle memory for that game at all. I've got to relearn that game. I'm excited to do that because it's a fun game. I'm just not very good at it. But Wind Waker, I'm playing Wind Waker. I have not played Wind Waker all the way through since I got it on the GameCube. It was like, I think it was 2003, 2004. I can't remember the year, 2002, whatever it was. It was 20 plus years ago. I have not played Wind Waker through since then. I started up a couple times. I've gotten through the first couple dungeons a couple times, but I'm excited to play that game all the way through for the first time in over 20 years. It looks nice. It's a little sharper than what you'd see on a regular GameCube. I feel like the emulation is fine. I haven't noticed any weird slowdown or input delay or anything like that. I saw one person on Blue Sky or Twitter, I can't remember which one it was, that was complaining about input lag. But I wasn't experiencing that. I haven't seen anyone else complain about it. So maybe this one person had something going on. Maybe they're just more in tune with really tiny infinitesimal delays. I don't know. I felt like it's played fine. I've been enjoying it. Approaching the first true dungeon of the game, having a good time. I would like to also play through Wind Waker here pretty soon. Basically, I've dropped all of my other games I'm playing, and I'm just playing Switch 2 games. So Fast Fusion and Wind Waker are what I'm really putting time into now, going into this weekend. Yeah, GameCube Games, super excited. They have some cool games they're going to add to this list. I'm excited to play through Path of Radiance again. I really want to play through the GameCube Pokemon games again. I haven't played those in a long time. So GameCube's got me super excited. I couldn't be happier that that's on the system now. And the last thing I want to talk about is the backwards compatibility. Obviously, this system, I ported over my OLED Switch to this thing. It basically sucked the soul out of my OLED. It's got all the games that it had. It's got all my saves. It's got everything. So this thing has all of my full catalog of almost 200 games that I accumulated on the Switch over the last 8 years. And I tested out backwards compatibility on a few games. So the big ones, Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, put those both in. Both play great. Both were super smooth, 60 FPS. I don't I don't have an eye for the quality mode. I think they're 4K, maybe they're 1440. I don't know. They look good. I don't have a strong enough eye to tell the difference between, 1080 to 1440 and 1440 to 4K. It looked nice, but the main thing is it was super smooth. Load times were better, fast traveling was quicker, but it just felt good to move around in. Same thing goes for Pokemon Scarlet. That game still doesn't look great. The art style, kind of simple. There's still a lot of pop in that game. Things in the distance just show up. There's no, you just bam, there's a bush, bam, there's a trainer, bam, there's Pokemon. But the performance is a lot better. It was 60 frames, buttery smooth, running around. It felt like a different game. I was opening up menus, scrolling through the Pokedex, and it was all loaded instantaneously. And if you've played that game on the Switch, if you scroll through the Pokedex, it won't load the entries and it'll like just blank out stuff. It's not satisfying to maneuver those menus. Going through the maps is a pain. Opening up the maps, everything's slightly delayed. You press the button, something happens a second later, then you gotta scroll through, you click, and it takes forever to fast travel. All that portion is gone. That's all great now. They upped the spawn counts. Maybe this is what it was initially supposed to do, but I feel like there's Pokemon everywhere now. There's like an abundance of Pokemon around every corner. It's kind of freaky. I was playing with my friend Tyler, and he was just running around in an end game area, and he found 5 shinies in one night just because there's so many Pokemon out. So that's going to be fun for people who like to hunt shinies. I'm excited to put some more time into it. I have to finish the DLC Pokedexes, so I'll put some time at some point to finish those up. But just excited that game's in the spot that it should have been in, when it launched. A couple other games I tried out. Smash Brothers, for the most part, plays the same, except for on some of the some maps that would cause some slowdown. Like I know Fountain of Dreams is a problem. There's no slowdown anymore. Everything's really smooth. Everything performs as it should. Character skins are loaded instantaneously. There's a problem if you scrolled over to a character and tried to cycle through their skins, it would show blank because it couldn't load them fast enough. That's all gone. If you play like single player, it loads the like next classic match so fast that it'll be like Diddy Kong. Like it'll just show you're fighting Diddy Kong. Okay, match start. It used to like throw it up there and you like look at it for a little bit. It loads, then you start. Now it's like Diddy Kong fight. And it's like it just almost feels jarring how fast it is. I almost wish they would like update to add like a couple seconds to like take in what you're fighting, and then it would jump to the fight. But yeah, that's been great. One game I was disappointed. I went to try Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, and I don't know, that game didn't prompt an update when I started it. So I was hoping it would prompt an update. It didn't. And when I got into it, it felt like it was locked at like 30 frames per second. Because that game had notorious performance issues. But when I loaded it up, it felt like it was performing better, but it felt like it was still capped. It wasn't getting the full, for my takeaway, it wasn't getting the full Switch 2 capability. It was stopping itself at 30 frames per second, and it didn't look as smooth as these 60 frames per second games I was growing accustomed to. I'm like, all of a sudden, now that I have all these games at 60 FPS, it was really jarring looking at Hyrule Warriors specifically being like locked at 30. So I hope they update that game. And I know that there's another one coming out later this year. I'll be interested to see if that one plays at 60 or not. But yeah, overall, I'm loving the Switch 2. I'm really excited for more first-party games to come out. I know Donkey Kong is coming out next month. That's going to be a big one. I'm really excited. Nintendo was consistently throwing out new game every month, basically, over the Switch for the last 8 years. I'm really excited for them to get the ball rolling, get some new experiences out there on this thing, make it feel more... right now it's worth it because I like the Switch and all my games play better and it feels like a premium product. I'm excited for that to be compounded with the fact there's tons of great games on it. But not worried about that. I'm sure they have got that fully planned out and ready to go. But yeah, that's all I got for now. I'm excited to play more of it. I would love to know anyone's thoughts below if you have played it or if you're not getting it or what you want to see before you do buy it. But yeah, that's all I have for today. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.